This is the $6 million Bugatti Persport that was crashed by Alex. After he got paid out from insurance, he bought the car back.
Before anyone could make sense of it, the entire auto world was left stunned. Matt Armstrong, known for bringing wrecked supercars back to life, suddenly received something from Elon Musk that nobody saw coming. It wasn't just unexpected. It sent shockwaves through an industry built on competition and secrecy. Fans, insiders, and rival manufacturers were all asking the same question: why Matt and why now? As details began to emerge, it became clear this was far bigger than a simple gift, and the implications were impossible to ignore. Tesla's big bet on tomorrow. From Tesla's current lineup and plans, the company is clearly approaching a major turning point, with 2026 and 2027 expected to be among the most important years in its history. Although the popular Model 3 and Model Y are likely to remain the pillars of Tesla's success, much of the attention is shifting toward what comes next. Industry watchers believe the coming years could redefine Tesla's identity and determine whether it becomes much more than just a car company. One of the biggest expectations centers on affordability. Analysts believe Tesla is preparing to launch lower-cost electric vehicles designed to attract a much larger audience. These budget-friendly models, which are expected to appear toward the end of 2026 or sometime in 2027, could help the company compete more aggressively in the mass market. Rather than introducing completely redesigned versions of its existing cars, Tesla is expected to focus on gradual improvements, refining performance, technology, and efficiency while keeping familiar designs. Yet Tesla's ambitions stretch far beyond traditional automobiles. The highly anticipated Roadster continues to remain on the horizon, keeping enthusiasts eager for its arrival. More importantly, Elon Musk's long-term vision increasingly revolves around technologies such as full self-driving systems, autonomous robotaxis, and the Optimus humanoid robot. These projects are viewed by many experts as the real centerpieces of Tesla's future. In fact, some analysts believe the company is slowly transforming itself from an electric car manufacturer into an artificial intelligence and robotics powerhouse. The report also points to growing uncertainty surrounding Tesla's premium Model S and Model X. Once symbols of the company's innovation, these luxury vehicles no longer occupy the same strategic importance as Tesla shifts its attention toward high-volume products capable of reaching millions of buyers. Meanwhile, the Cybertruck remains a work in progress. Although its unusual design has attracted global attention, questions still remain about how significant a role it will play in Tesla's long-term lineup. Overall, projections for 2026 and 2027 paint a picture of a company making bold bets on affordability, automation, and advanced technologies. Despite rising competition and slower growth in the electric vehicle market, many observers believe these next 2 years could prove decisive. The choices Tesla makes during this period may ultimately determine whether it remains primarily an automaker or evolves into a technology giant capable of reshaping transportation, robotics, and artificial intelligence for decades to come. Could this be the reason why Elon Musk is giving Matt Armstrong the nudge? What could have influenced his choice of Matt Armstrong, of all people? Let's delve into the details of the man who refused to play by the rules. The journey that changed everything. It all began with a phone call that sounded almost impossible to believe. A $6 million Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport had been badly wrecked. Logic suggested that the owner would contact Bugatti itself, a team of factory engineers or highly trained specialists who knew every bolt and every sensor inside the hypercar. Instead, the call went to Matt Armstrong. For millions of fans around the world, that single moment meant far more than a damaged supercar. It was proof that the young man from Leicester, England, who had spent years working inside an ordinary garage with cameras recording every step, had become a name impossible to overlook. By that time, Matt had already begun dismantling the Bugatti. Damaged body panels were removed. Deployed airbags came out. Broken pieces were stripped away, one by one. Every update attracted millions of curious viewers, eager to see whether the impossible could actually be done. But the Bugatti story wasn't where it all began. Long before exotic machines and worldwide fame, Matt Armstrong was simply a thrill-seeking young man obsessed with BMX riding. He loved pushing limits. The bigger the jump, the greater the excitement. The more difficult the trick, the sweeter the reward. His life revolved around speed, adrenaline, and daring stunts that most people would never dream of attempting. Everything seemed to be going perfectly. Then, in 2013, disaster struck. During a BMX competition, Matt attempted an incredibly difficult 720-degree tail whip. It was a move that demanded absolute perfection. But one mistake changed everything. He crashed violently and dislocated his shoulder. In a single moment, years of dreams seemed to collapse around him. He stood at a crossroads. He could continue, risking his body in a sport that had already taken so much, or he could start again from scratch. Starting over is terrifying. Most people cling to what they know. Matt chose differently. Cars had always been part of his life. His father possessed the kind of mechanical talent many call a dying art. He could fix almost anything and breathe life back into broken machines. Over time, those skills rubbed off on Matt. Still, there was one problem. Matt wasn't an expert, and he never pretended to be one. Instead, he chose to learn in front of the world. His first project was hardly glamorous. His girlfriend's badly damaged Audi TT looked destined for the scrapyard. Most people would have given up. Matt switched on a camera, and without realizing it, he wasn't just rebuilding cars. He was building stories, and millions of people were about to join him on the journey. How did he make it big? What was his success story like? Let's dive further into the details of the YouTuber who started disturbing the automotive world. The rise, risk, failure, redemption, and drive. Success has a strange way of pulling attention toward itself, often when you least expect it. After Matt's Audi TT build went viral online, everything changed almost overnight. His channel didn't just grow, it exploded. New viewers arrived in huge numbers, old viewers stayed glued, and suddenly, he was no longer seen as just another car enthusiast uploading garage videos. He had become someone people actively watched, waited for, and talked about. But attention brings pressure, and pressure pushes people forward. Matt didn't slow down. He wanted more difficult projects, bigger risks, and cars that would truly test his skills. That's when the Audi R8 came into the picture. To some car experts, the R8 wasn't special enough to be called a real supercar. It sat in a strange middle ground, but Matt saw it differently. To him, it looked like a supercar. It sounded like one. It felt exciting. And for him, excitement mattered more than labels or debates. The problem was the condition of the car. It was in terrible shape. Parts were missing. The body was badly damaged. The engine had serious issues. Electronics were failing. It was the kind of car most people would walk away from without a second thought. But Matt did not walk away. He leaned in. He began stripping the car down piece by piece, showing every stage of the rebuild to his audience. At the same time, he also took on another project, a Maserati Gran Turismo. So instead of one challenge, he had two running at once, two broken machines, two sets of problems, two times the stress. Yet, people couldn't stop watching. What made it so addictive wasn't perfection, it was honesty. Matt didn't act like a master who had all the answers. He learned in real time. He made mistakes in front of everyone. He tried, failed, adjusted, and tried again. Every setback became part of the story. Every small win felt shared. And eventually, the Audi R8 came back to life. When the engine finally started and the car roared again, it wasn't just a repair. It felt like a victory for everyone who had followed the journey. But even then, Matt wasn't satisfied. He wanted harder challenges, faster cars, more complex machines, real supercars that pushed limits. At the same time, people inside the automotive world were starting to notice him. Big names in the industry, companies known for decades of engineering excellence, were suddenly being mentioned in the same conversations as a YouTuber working from a garage in England. It was unusual, even uncomfortable for some. Around this period, people began drawing informal comparisons between Matt Armstrong and innovators like Elon Musk. Not because of any direct link, but because they seemed to share a similar mindset, a dislike for limits, a willingness to challenge normal expectations, and an ability to inspire communities around bold, seemingly impossible ideas. However, Matt soon faced a serious setback. He worked on a nearly new Aston Martin that had only 39 miles on it, but had been damaged before reaching its customer. What seemed like a straightforward repair turned into a major problem when the car refused to start despite all his efforts, including diagnostics and resets. For the first time in a long while, he was completely stuck. Eventually, he contacted Aston Martin engineers. They arrived, inspected the vehicle, and fixed the issue in just 10 minutes, something Matt had struggled with for weeks. Although it was a humbling moment, it did not discourage him. Instead, it strengthened his resolve and marked the start of an even bigger journey ahead. What changed everything for Matt Armstrong? Could this be the hit that won him Elon Musk's trust? Let's dig into the details of the $6 million Bugatti that changes everything. Underdog versus Bugatti, impossible rebuild. Among hypercars, Bugatti sits in a category that almost feels unreal. These are not just ordinary vehicles. They are built like rolling sculptures, carefully shaped machines where engineering meets art at the highest level. Every bolt, every curve, every material choice is deliberate. A Bugatti is not simply owned, it is protected, maintained, and treated almost like a priceless artifact. With price tags in the millions, even small repairs are handled with extreme care, usually only by factory-approved experts. For many years, people believed that once a Bugatti was badly damaged outside the factory network, the story was basically over. Repairing it anywhere else was seen as nearly impossible. Then something unexpected happened. American automotive YouTuber Alec Gonzalez crashed his Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport. The damage was serious. Under normal circumstances, the car would have gone straight back to Bugatti for repair, at a cost so high it would shock even wealthy owners. But instead, the damaged supercar ended up in the hands of Matt Armstrong, a man known for rebuilding crashed performance cars in front of a global online audience. At that moment, something unusual began. A single creator with cameras, tools, and determination was suddenly standing face-to-face with one of the most elite engineering names in the world. Millions of viewers watched closely. Could he actually rebuild it? Bugatti stayed completely silent. No interviews, public response, or criticism, just a quiet observation. But behind the scenes, problems started stacking up. Getting parts became a nightmare. Suppliers refused to cooperate. Owners hesitated. The system around Bugatti seemed to close in tightly, making progress extremely slow. Still, Matt kept going. He openly shared every setback with his audience. Instead of pushing people away, this honesty did the opposite. It pulled viewers in. The internet began rooting for him. He had become the classic underdog fighting a giant. Then came one of his most debated decisions: the airbags. Instead of sourcing original Bugatti components, he tested parts from an Audi A3. Experts were shocked. Critics called it reckless. Fans were fascinated. And against expectations, it actually worked. Soon after, he pushed an even bigger idea, using 3D printing to recreate complex components. This sparked intense debate. If true, it suggested that even hyper-exclusive parts might not be as untouchable as people believed. At that point, Bugatti's CEO, Mate Rimac, finally responded. He clarified that rumors were misleading. Headlights did not cost $200,000, but were closer to $58,000. He also explained that 3D printing of critical components was not as simple as it sounded. Some materials and safety systems required extremely precise engineering, including special leather designs that ensured airbags functioned correctly, even in extreme temperatures. Then came a major revelation. The car was not just damaged cosmetically. Its structural integrity had been affected. Even the gearbox housing was compromised. In Bugatti's view, the vehicle had essentially been blacklisted. Matt Armstrong defied Bugatti's claim that separating a Chiron's rear from its front could only be done in licensed facilities. Treating it as a challenge, He succeeded in doing it in his workshop, shocking viewers. With help from master mechanic Bob, he rebuilt key components through extensive custom fabrication. The project evolved into a major public showcase of independent engineering skill versus factory-controlled exclusivity and tradition. What kind of combination will Matt Armstrong make with Elon Musk? Could it push Tesla beyond every other vehicle? Let's take a look at Elon Musk, Bugatti, and the quiet rivalry shaping the future. Garage meets global genius. While Matt Armstrong was rewriting the rules of the supercar world from a modest garage, another figure was already reshaping entire industries from the highest levels of global influence. That man was Elon Musk. By the time Matt's Bugatti story caught fire online, Elon had long established himself as someone who doesn't just enter industries, he disrupts them completely. His influence stretches far beyond cars. He has pushed boundaries in space exploration, transformed satellite-based internet, and become one of the most talked-about voices in artificial intelligence. For many, he represents a rare kind of ambition. Someone who repeatedly steps into impossible spaces and tries to make them work anyway. Back in 2008, when Tesla introduced the Roadster, the reaction was far from applause. Many people dismissed it. Electric cars, they said, could never be truly exciting, fast, or desirable. But Tesla proved the critics wrong. It showed that electric vehicles could be powerful, stylish, and emotionally appealing all at once. That moment quietly began a shift that would later reshape the entire auto industry. Years later, Elon pushed expectations even further. The next generation Roadster was announced with bold claims, so bold that even seasoned engineers raised their eyebrows. Among the most shocking statements was the idea that it could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 1 second. That single claim alone sparked worldwide debate. Naturally, comparisons began almost immediately with hypercar giants like Bugatti. Fans, engineers, and automotive experts demanded clarity. Was this even physically possible? Could any machine, no matter how advanced, reach such performance? Soon after, Bugatti's CEO, Mate Rimac, addressed the conversation indirectly. Without naming Elon Musk, he highlighted the deep engineering realities behind such performance claims. He pointed to the heavy demands of weight distribution, air compression systems, fuel or energy storage limitations, and the unavoidable trade-offs that come with extreme speed. His message was clear: physics always has the final say. Those remarks lit up social media. Debates erupted everywhere. Was this a subtle response to Elon's ambitious vision? Many believed it was. Elon, however, did not retreat. He doubled down, insisting that raw speed was not even the most exciting part of what he envisioned. The conversation shifted from cars alone to what future technology could look like when boundaries are aggressively challenged. In the middle of this storm stood Matt Armstrong, drawing parallels to Elon Musk. While Musk operated from corporate boardrooms and Armstrong from a tool-filled workshop of damaged supercars, both shared a relentless creativity that rejected limits. Both built massive audiences by turning bold ideas into public spectacles. Rumors sparked that Musk admired or supported Armstrong, though no evidence confirmed a link. Armstrong's silence only fueled curiosity, blending fact and speculation into the story. Who could have believed Matt Armstrong could make it to this level? Could anyone have believed that Matt Armstrong would become a great symbol in the automotive industry? Let's look into the details of the three-way battle nobody saw coming. Garage boy to global symbol. Nobody could have predicted this. Not when Matt was riding BMX bikes. Not when he was fixing his girlfriend's Audi TT, or when he struggled with his first projects. Yet somehow, his name now lived in the same conversations as Elon Musk and Mate Rimac. One man represented YouTube and determination. Another represented unimaginable wealth and disruption. The third represented engineering excellence and was one of the most prestigious brands on Earth. Together, they formed a strange triangle, and fans couldn't stop talking about it. Some believe Matt represents ordinary enthusiasts. Others see Mate Rimac as the protector of craftsmanship and safety. And Elon Musk? He represents disruption itself. The man who changes industries simply because others say something cannot be done. Could these worlds eventually collide? Could Elon publicly support Matt? Could Bugatti soften its stance? Could the automotive industry itself change forever? Nobody knows. But one thing is undeniable. Matt Armstrong is no longer simply a YouTuber. He's become a symbol of persistence, a symbol of curiosity, and a symbol of refusing to accept the impossible. Years ago, a BMX crash threatened to end his dreams. Instead, it redirected them. What looked like failure became a beginning. And today, millions watch every move he makes. Because somewhere between a broken shoulder, an Audi TT, a $6 million Bugatti, whispers involving Elon Musk, and a silent rivalry with Bugatti itself, Matt Armstrong transformed from a content creator into something much bigger. He became the man nobody in the automotive world could ignore. And if recent events are any indication, his story is still far from over. Perhaps the next chapter will bring Elon Musk closer. Perhaps Bugatti will finally embrace him. Or perhaps the greatest surprises are the ones nobody sees coming. One thing is certain, the entire automotive world is watching. And Matt Armstrong knows it. So, what do you think about Elon Musk's choice of Matt Armstrong? Do you really think they can make a great team? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.